a few years ago.
No, that wouldn't have been me, I'm afraid. No, I'm relatively new to this. I actually work with the Tower Exchange brand in the business, so I don't really know. I don't really know much about Layer123's work, LTM.
Mhm.
I'm a more of a physical infrastructure sort of person. Diesel
Uh-huh.
generators, solar panels, rectifiers, and big lumps of steel in concrete.
Yeah. Well, we still need those as well.
Well, exactly. That's was kind of my view when looking at where
These
to
won't
move
go away,
into.
basically.
You're going to need to put things places. Real estate's just important. It's not particularly sexy, but it is
It is a
global. It
thing.
is everywhere. You can't avoid it.
Yeah. So let me just, so I have one video, but I think I'm going to, um,
See if it works.
yeah, but I'm not going to put the sound on. I think I have removed the sound. I just wanted to see if I could speed it up so that I could speak to it.
There
So
we go.
you don't hear the sound, right? I don't hear it, so
No,
you probably don't hear it, which
no, I
is
don't.
okay because I just wanted to speed it up
Mm.
and show an example.
Mm.
Um, okay, so stop it. Whoop,
Great.
stop.
Um,
Okay, and this. Okay, and then my last one. There we go.
Good. It all works. So this is running until 2:40. And I think I said before that there is a auto stop, and the next session starts automatically. So try and keep it through. If any questions do come through, I'll let you know.
Okay, thank you. They're still going on the previous one, so
Well, they'll stop
it's
on
about 2
time. So
minutes.
yeah.
But I was listening to that, and you still have to join the next session. So you
It'll automatically play for people
okay.
normally. And whereabouts are you based, Joanne? Are you
I'm in
in Europe?
Canada.
You're in Canada. I see.
Yes. So it was very early for me yesterday
Early
morning. I
morning.
started
Yeah,
at
it must have been.
6:30, but I had been up since 5:30, and I listened to the one at 10 to 5, and then at
Oh,
the one before mine,
well,
and then I listened to the one after mine. So,
I hope you've got plenty of coffee.
oh no, I don't drink coffee.
No, okay. Just powered by the love of the Layer123. We like to see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So, does people introduce themselves, or?
Yes, if you just introduce yourself briefly and then go. I'll give you a nod when it's time to start, and in about 10 seconds or so.
You will introduce me or not?
No, I'll stay in the background.
Okay. Well, they have my name on there.
Oh, well, exactly. You don't need a big introduction. Okay, Joanne, take it away. I'm going to go on to mute now and just be in the background in case anything happens, but you can begin.
Okay. Well, welcome everyone. I am Joanne Mayer, the founder of NaaS Compass. This session today is about best practices to achieve a network as a service based autonomous network. So if we think about what's happening in the industry where there's a lot of talk about robotics and agriculture and in autonomy agriculture, remote surgery or connected cars, is the service providers really going to be selling that to you or me? Are they going to be selling remote surgery to the doctors, or are they going to be selling robotic to the enterprise themselves? I don't think so. I think that basically service providers need to enable their architecture such that their network services, whether it's connectivity or whether it's a wireless access or whether it's just a SIM card, has to be exposed through APIs so that there's more and more developers, because this is where the growth actually lies. But what are today's challenges? Today's challenges is in the form of their back office. And basically every one of those lines in the spaghetti here basically refers to the fact that all of their application system that we refer to as the BSS and OSS, the business and the operation support systems that are typically managed by the IT department, have to know everything about how to order things, how to configure things, how to collect information to look for SLAs, how to do trouble isolation, how to collect things to be able to do billings and so on. And so all of those systems have to know everything from the product, the service, and the resources. And by resources, I'm talking about the suppliers. And so these things have become very complex. And every time you want to even just upgrade the product catalog level, well, all those spaghetti lines need to be tested. And it's because really it has become more of a hindrance and breaking down the agility of the service providers. For the service provider to be able to become more agile, we are now looking at network as a service. And what is network as a service? Is the ability for all of the network capabilities. And in here, network capabilities to me also include TV services, cable infrastructure. It also includes everything. So every single things that the network service and application that they can offer is from the network. It's always been the network service providers. This is everything that they offer is now being exposed through APIs. And these APIs have to be service agnostic or technology agnostic API, so that all of the different technology now is being exposed, but only at the service level. And so in the IT system, suddenly, we don't have to know the how it gets done. IT system don't need to know all of the different suppliers, and they don't need to know whether a firewall as a service, whether it comes from a physical or a virtual firewall as a service. It's just a firewall as a service. And then the network domain will decide according to the input that were sent to them from more of an intent perspective, what is it that they need to configure in support of the SLA. Now, if you think about that, if the network are starting to now expose their capability via APIs, now we can start thinking about how things are done a lot more homogeneously. And then if you don't need to know about the resource level, then it makes things a lot easier to then address any technology, any type of domain. So the TM Forum has already started moving in that direction when we talk about the open digital architecture, where we have the production. And so everything that would be at the network level here would be the equivalent to the production level. The integration here, the decoupling and integration, is basically the same thing as what we have in the light gray in the TM Forum. And then everything that's up here is now the core commerce management that talks in terms of products and services. And then there'll be the intelligence management, which can be sort of sitting in each, you'll need some intelligence management in each of the domain. And then you can also have it as part of an end-to-end domain. So now that you are looking at exposing your services to your IT, so internally, well, we can push that a little bit further. And now what we can do is actually reuse those services that are being exposed and address external developers through APIs again. And so all of these different capabilities that we saw with the 5G or Internet of Things in the past, then suddenly are also being able to be accessed via these same APIs here. Now we will need to have a access in here in terms of making sure that the external developers are having accounts within the service providers and things like that. But these are thin layers. But basically what we want is the ability to expose not only to your internal IT developers, but to your external developers, having the network basically going from system to a software set that is accessible via API. And yesterday, I also had a talk on Etsy ZSM, talking about how, Etsy ZSM is a really good framework, a foundation for moving towards a network as a service infrastructure, because they're thinking about it in terms of exposing the management domain, as we see here, management domain exposing through the same set of APIs, independent of technologies. And then we have our framework consumers, which can be external developers or IT internal developers, with access directly to the gateway, as we see here. And then we have the end-to-end domain. So this is the one that manages and orchestrates across multiple domains a composite service. So let's think about you want to offer an internet security with wireless backup because they had a fixed access, for example. This is the type of combination of end-to-end composite service that will get handled in an end-to-end composite service. But because it still uses the gateway, in my architecture, I had just put it down here, but because it sits above and orchestrate against the other management domain, Etsy ZSM had written or had created their architecture more with the above, but everything is still using the same API gateway function here. So next, we now are thinking about your closed loop, and you want to really be able to have an autonomous network. Well, whether you look at whatever the TM Forum is doing in terms of servicing the resource level, where we need to have a closed loop within the resource, you need a closed loop at the service level, which get exposed, and then you have the business closed loop at the operations, and then you have this other loop, which basically goes all the way to what the customer is expecting to have. And then you make sure that the customer service is always going to be supported, and you do a closed loop so that you redirect your resources so that the customer service doesn't get too badly impacted, or whether you follow the STZSM, which is really the same level as the production level. So here's your production level in the TM Forum, and STZSM focuses again at the production level. Again, these are the domains that needs within the domain here. You'll have all of the resource level and the service level at each access domain. And then you have the composite end-to-end that also looks at it from an end-to-end service level. Regardless of which way you're going to be using, it is still the same level, and it still requires, in terms of agility and in terms of agnosticity, being able to expose things at the service level. Otherwise, every single one of your IT system will need to know all the way to each resources how to do things. And now with the virtual network functions and so on, you need to have your network being able to do this a lot more in an agile fashion. So where do you start? I mean, so now you know that being able to expose things, and you want to be able to move more towards autonomous network with your zero weight, zero touch, and zero trouble, where you may be at level 0, where a lot of things are being done manually, and you do your maintenance manually, L1 assisted operations, so on, and you want to move up the chain where you have more and more things being done autonomously. Well, really, we need to start with discover what you have today, and then plan and then execute on that transformation. And so first you need to look at your business case. Let's think about where you want to move. You want to look at creating a business case to help you in transforming to something like network as a service and into more of an autonomous network. And so think about what is your core things? Why do you want to transform? Is it for cost saving, faster time to market? Is it for addressing new revenue you want to address and you want to sell to the developers? Or is it because you need to have more agility in decoupling your network and IT through standards, APIs? All of these are extremely very good business cases, and they can all be supported through doing a network as a service transformation. Then you need to create the foundation, you need to plan, you need to look for your service lifecycle automation, which will help in doing the automation and understanding the impact analysis. If transport today, there's a lot of manual tasks being done, and you need to start from the bottom up so that you actually understand all the way up the impact being what's happening across and why this customer is being impacted. And then the education of your employees. If you're going to do any type of transformation, you need to bring the employees along. Else they're going to be afraid of their job being cut, and then they'll put blockers, and people don't like to be pushed to do something that they don't understand. Education is key. Anytime you want to do a transformation, bring them along and they understand where they need to fit, and then they'll support you. And then you go and you execute the transformation. This is not a Band-Aid. This is not something that's gonna, you're going to be able to do right away, because there's a lot of work. I mean, I'm involved right now with transformation of just inventory. And your inventory, there's so many steps that are still manual in the inventory. It's amazing. So there's a lot to do, but it's really going to be worthwhile. And I mean, there's lots of things that are out there to help you. So for example, around network as a service, we have there's lots of other assets that you can leverage to help you and guide you towards your transformation. We've created best practices around NaaS. We started with service fulfillment. We're helping you in considering what are the types of service fulfillment you will need when you're exposing your network services, depending if it's going to be something that requires a physical deployment, or something that's going to be done quickly, a rapid activation, and it's only software. Or if you're going to have things that are long running processes, which API you should use, sequence diagram, and showing you how to do things that way. And it's very important to have a plan that you can execute and move forward. And basically, you might think that, oh, well, we're not ready. I mean, network being exposed to IT and reducing time to market so that you don't have to do this manually between the two systems, between the two sets. And actually, we are a lot closer than what you think. So in here, I actually just wanted to show you a quick demo of what has been done and exists today that can be done. So in here, what I have is a NaaS design time. And so basically, if you think about it, you're starting from your network, and on your network, and here I have an example of a RODM service, and you're explaining, you're showing your bandwidth choices, your diversity choices. So you're exposing all of the things that can be activated and selected. Those are the ones that you basically want to have input back, such that when you receive the order request, you have all of the information to understand your two endpoint location, and then the bandwidth that you need, and so on. Then you have your specification ID. You publish the specification, and basically, guess what? You actually receive it into your product catalog. And so the specification from the server side comes into the product catalog, and from the product catalog, you create a product specification, and you'll see that suddenly it all came in here. So you have all of the service bandwidth, you have the link ID you had, and then you basically just need to select the exclusion, the rate that you're not interested in from your product offer perspective. and then you have your diversity, and you can change your diversity. You can have your link specification, service level specification. You can do the same thing for each of those attributes, and that is your product specification. Then you're basically going to create a product offer, and then from the product offer, you use your specification. Then you add all sorts of information regarding the cost, right? Being able to charge for it. You may have, a single price for the installation, and then you'll have a recurring prices every month, and things like that. And basically, I just wanted to show you that this thing, we were able to do this specification, and it'll run all the way to then being able to publish that product offer, and then you can have a customer buying it and delivering that. So this is something that exists today. This is not in the future. These are things that can be exposed through API, and you can start planning your transformation, your evolutions toward network as a service. And as part of NaaS Compass, we have actually created courses that will give you an overview. You have a technical course so that you know how to create, where to start with your domain. We also have all of the NaaS API that are required for the entire life cycle of the service. We also have a program governance framework where we tell you in the discovery phase, these are all of the things that you should be looking at, right? You'll need to identify your stakeholders. You need to make sure that you have your membership if you're going to reuse, for example, TM4 APIs and so on, monthly budget for your marketing. And, we have created an entire framework to help you in doing your transformation. And we also offer experienced personal NaaS coaches with people that have had the experience of doing a NaaS transformation. And so basically, that was the talk. And what I encourage you is to look at NaaS Compass. I have the website address here, and it is technology agnostic, and it is supplier agnostic. Unlike, we are not part of we're not associated with a particular vendor. We are there to help the service provider, help them in migrating towards a NaaS transformation. And yes, you will need all your suppliers to come along with you in terms of supporting exposure of APIs. You'll need, service catalog, you'll need service inventory, you'll need lots of these things. But every service provider will have a different starting point, will want to start at different places. And this is basically trying to help you in doing your migration. And I am available. If you have any questions, just contact me, and we can take it from there. But also visit NaaS Compass.
There was one question there that's came in while you're on. We've got a little bit of time. Is there a roadmap reference for open APIs integration towards networks that you'd recommend?
TMF 909. So this is the NaaS API. So it's all done under the auspice of standards. And so if you look at the TMF 909, it is called NaaS service component suite, API component suite, network as a service API component suite. This is the all of the APIs that will support the entire life cycle of the services.
Great.